What if I told you that Japanese car mechanics discovered a 2-minute routine that can literally double the life of your car battery, and most drivers in the rest of the world have absolutely no idea it exists? Not a product. Not an expensive gadget. Not a trip to the mechanic. Just a simple method that Japanese drivers have been quietly using for decades, while the rest of us keep replacing dead batteries every 2 or 3 years and wondering why. Today I am showing you exactly what it is, how it works, and why your battery has probably been dying way sooner than it should. Here is something that stopped me cold when I first learned it. The average car battery should last 5 to 7 years. But most drivers replace theirs every 2 to 3 years. That is thousands of people spending money on batteries they should not have needed yet, all because of one simple thing they were never taught. And the worst part? The damage happens slowly, quietly, and completely invisibly while you go about your normal daily driving routine. Let me take you inside a small car workshop in Osaka, Japan. The mechanic there, a man who has been working on cars for over 30 years, shared something with me that genuinely changed how I think about batteries forever. He said the #1 battery killer is not cold weather, not age, and not cheap parts. It is something called sulfation, and it is happening inside your battery right now whether you know it or not. Here is what sulfation actually is, explained simply. Your car battery works by moving charged particles back and forth between lead plates submerged in acid. Every time your battery discharges, tiny crystals of lead sulfate form on those plates. Normally, when you charge the battery back up, those crystals dissolve and everything resets. But when your battery sits partially discharged for too long, those crystals harden. They calcify. They turn into a permanent coating that blocks the plates from doing their job, and once that happens, your battery capacity starts shrinking. It holds less charge, dies faster, and eventually refuses to start your car on a cold morning when you need it most. Now here is where the Japanese method comes in, and this is the part that genuinely surprised me. Japanese mechanics discovered that the way you drive your car in the first few minutes after starting it has a massive impact on whether sulfation builds up or gets naturally reversed. Most people start their car and immediately drive hard, running the heater full blast, the radio loud, the rear defroster on, and all the electrical systems working at maximum load before the battery has had any chance to recover from the overnight discharge. That combination of high electrical demand at low engine speed is one of the most damaging things you can do to a battery repeatedly over time. The Japanese method is simple and takes exactly 2 minutes. When you start your car in the morning, before you touch anything else, let the engine idle quietly for 90 seconds to 2 minutes with absolutely nothing extra switched on. No radio. No air conditioning. No heated seats. No rear defroster. Nothing. Just the engine running and the alternator doing its job undisturbed. During those 2 minutes, the alternator is pumping a clean full charge back into the battery at the exact voltage needed to begin reversing mild sulfation on the surface of the plates. You are essentially giving your battery a proper breakfast before asking it to run a marathon. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but the chemistry behind it is completely real. When the alternator charges a battery without heavy electrical loads competing for that energy, the charging voltage stays at the optimal level to break down early-stage sulfate crystals before they harden permanently. The moment you switch on high-draw electrical systems, that voltage drops and the battery gets a weaker, less effective charge that maintains sulfation instead of fighting it. 2 minutes of clean, uninterrupted charging every morning is the difference between a battery that fights sulfation daily and one that slowly surrenders to it over months and years. Japanese mechanics also discovered something equally important about how you park your car. If you regularly park with any electrical systems left active, even small things like a phone charger plugged in, a dash cam running on standby, or interior light left on for just a few hours, your battery discharges to a lower level than it should before you start the car again. A battery that starts each morning from a lower state of charge forms sulfate crystals faster and needs longer to recover. The simple habit of checking that everything is fully switched off before you leave your car means your battery starts each morning from a stronger position and responds better to that 2-minute charging routine. Here is another piece of this method that most people overlook completely. Battery terminal connections. Japanese mechanics clean their battery terminals every single time they do an oil change, and they use a specific technique to do it properly. Corrosion on battery terminals looks like a white or blue powdery buildup around the metal connections, and it acts like a resistor between your battery and your car's electrical system. Even a thin layer of corrosion forces your battery to work harder to deliver the same power, draining it faster and reducing the effectiveness of charging. Mixing a tablespoon of baking soda with a small amount of water creates a simple paste that dissolves corrosion completely when applied with an old toothbrush. After scrubbing, rinse with clean water, dry thoroughly, and apply a tiny amount of petroleum jelly to the clean terminals to prevent future corrosion. This 5-minute process done every few months keeps your electrical connections at full efficiency and makes every charge your battery receives cleaner and more complete. Now let me share something that changed how I think about short trips. If your daily driving mostly involves short journeys of less than 15 minutes, your battery is probably never reaching a full charge between uses. Every time you start the car, the battery gives out a large burst of power to fire the starter motor, and that power needs to be replaced. Your alternator needs time at running speed to put that energy back. On a short trip, the engine barely gets warm before you are switching it off again, and the battery ends up slightly more depleted after every single journey. Over weeks and months of short trips, your battery is slowly draining down in small increments until one morning it simply does not have enough left to start the car. The Japanese solution is beautifully practical. Once a week, take your car for a drive of at least 20 to 25 minutes at a steady speed above 40 miles per hour. This sustained alternator operation at proper engine speed gives your battery a genuine full charge that short daily trips never provide, essentially resetting the sulfation clock and keeping the plates healthy. Here is a fact that will genuinely surprise you. Japanese mechanics also recommend keeping your battery physically secure in its tray with no looseness or vibration. Most drivers never think about this, but a battery that vibrates while driving experiences tiny internal impacts that gradually damage the lead plates and shake loose the active material that coats them. Once that material falls to the bottom of the battery casing, it cannot be recovered and your capacity permanently decreases. Check that your battery hold-down bracket is tight, that the battery does not rock or shift when you push it firmly, and that there is no cracked or broken casing allowing any movement. This takes 30 seconds to check, and most drivers have never once done it. Temperature is the silent accelerator of everything we have talked about. Heat makes sulfation build faster, makes corrosion grow quicker, and makes electrolyte evaporate from inside the battery cells, reducing their capacity permanently. Parking in shade whenever possible during summer, even the difference between direct sun and covered parking, can reduce under-hood temperatures dramatically and meaningfully extend battery life. In cold climates, the opposite challenge exists. Cold thickens the battery acid, reduces available cranking power, and makes starting the engine harder on the battery every single morning. In cold weather, that 2-minute idle routine becomes even more important because you are giving the battery time to warm slightly and reach better operating efficiency before loading it with electrical demands. Let me put all of this together for you because the power of this method is in the combination of habits working together every single day. Start your car and let it idle for 2 minutes with nothing switched on. Before you leave your car, confirm everything is fully off. Drive properly once a week for at least 20 minutes to give your battery a complete full charge. Clean your terminals every few months with baking soda paste and protect them with petroleum jelly. Make sure your battery is physically secure with no vibration. Park in shade during summer heat. These are not complicated procedures requiring tools or mechanical knowledge. They are simple 2-minute habits that Japanese mechanics have built into their routine for decades, and the batteries in those workshops last 5, 6, and 7 years as a completely normal expectation rather than a pleasant surprise. Your car battery is not just a component. It is the heartbeat of your entire vehicle. Without it, nothing starts, nothing runs, nothing works. It deserves 2 minutes of your morning and 30 seconds of your attention every few months, and in return it will give you years of reliable starts on cold mornings, hot afternoons, and every ordinary day in between. If this method is something you are going to start using from tomorrow morning, hit that like button right now because this kind of information deserves to reach every driver who is out there replacing batteries they should not have to replace. Share this with your family and friends because everyone with a car needs to know this. Subscribe to this channel because we bring you the real car care knowledge that mechanics use themselves but rarely explain to customers. And drop a comment right now telling me what country you are watching from and whether your battery has ever died on you unexpectedly. I want to hear your stories and I want to know where our community is watching from around the world. Drive smart, take care of that battery, and I will see you in the next one.